Why are oxtails $30 a pack? When did cows start demanding rent? But here's the real plot twist. Oxtails used to be the cheapest, most unwanted throwaway meat in America. Trash meat. Literally the part of the cow nobody wanted. The scraps, the leftovers, the give this to somebody else cut. So how did it go from trash meat to luxury item? How did the food that black people made delicious become too expensive for black people to afford? In today's video, we're breaking down how oxtails skyrocketed in price, how cultural theft played a role, and why black food traditions keep getting exploited once the rest of the world finally catches on. Let's get one thing straight. Your grandma didn't discover oxtails. She rescued them. During slavery, enslaved Africans were given the leftovers, the parts white plantation owners found disgusting: neck bones, pig feet, chicken gizzards, oxtails. Not out of generosity, out of waste management. These were the scraps, the throwaways, the "we're not eating this, so you deal with it" parts. And black cooks, African, Caribbean, Black American, took those scraps and created cuisine, created flavor, created techniques that chefs now study in culinary school. Here's why oxtails work. They're 70% bone, 30% meat, but 100% flavor. When you cook them low and slow, the collagen in the bones melts and turns into gelatin. That's what makes the sauce thick. That's what makes it stick to the rice like it pays rent. That's chemistry. That's mastery. African braising techniques, Caribbean spice blends, low and slow cooking that requires time, patience, and knowledge passed down through generations. This wasn't experimental cooking. This was survival cooking. This was making something from nothing because you had no choice. And it became legendary. By the 1990s, Caribbean restaurants in New York were packed. Jamaican spots in Flatbush, Trini restaurants in Crown Heights, Black-owned soul food joints across Harlem. People were discovering the magic of oxtails. Real people, black people, Caribbean people, people who grew up knowing this food. But then, food writers started calling it a hidden gem. Translation: they finally tasted flavor and acted like they discovered fire. Suddenly, food magazines that ignored black restaurants for decades were writing features. Suddenly, upscale restaurants were adding braised short rib to menus, which was just oxtails with better marketing. Chef Marcus Samuelsson said it best: the dishes that come from the African diaspora have always been undervalued until someone else blows the whistle. Someone else. Not the people who created it. Not the communities who perfected it. Someone else had to discover it before it became valuable. And that's when the price started climbing. Because once white America wants something black people have been eating for generations, economics kicks in, and not in our favor. Let's talk numbers. Real numbers. The kind that explain why your grandmother can't afford the food she taught you to cook. 1970, 79 cents per pound. Nobody wants this. 1990s, $2.99 per pound. Caribbean food getting noticed. 2000s, $6.99 per pound. Upscale restaurants adopting. 2024, $15.99 to $29.99 per pound. Luxury ingredient. Here's what happened. Supply and demand. Economics 101, but with a cultural twist. Oxtails only make up about 1% of a cow's total weight. 1%. That means even if demand increases slightly, supply can't keep up. And demand didn't increase slightly. It exploded. Oxtails used to be struggle food. Now they cost the same as a car payment. And the people who made them famous, priced out. TikTok chef Danny Rose, Stovetop Kisses, once said something that went viral. Oxtails so high you need a credit check. And she's not wrong. You used to feed a family of 6 with oxtails. Now you need a small loan. But here's where it gets worse. Social media. Every time a food influencer posts oxtails with that perfect sauce drip, demand spikes. Every time a celebrity chef puts them on a menu, demand spikes. Every time someone goes viral making gourmet oxtail tacos, demand spikes. And every spike, the price goes up. The communities who created the dish get priced out a little more. The cultural theft becomes economic theft. If you grew up eating oxtails before they were expensive, hit subscribe. You're a cultural OG. You remember when this was just dinner, not a luxury. Tell me in the comments, what dish did your family make that the world discovered too late? Let's build a list. Let's document this pattern. Oxtails aren't unique. This is a pattern, a system, a playbook that gets run every single time black food goes mainstream. Fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, Jamaican patties, jollof rice, sweet potato pie. Every single one of these followed the same path. Black people create it, perfect it, make it cultural. Then the mainstream discovers it, renames it, marks up the price, and erases the origin. When black people make oxtails, it's greasy soul food. When a 27-year-old influencer named Chad makes them, suddenly it's bone and braised beef with cultural flair. Food historian Adrian Miller, author of Soul Food, said something that explains everything. The moment black food becomes profitable, its origins get erased. Let's talk specifics. Mac and cheese. You know who created the recipe Thomas Jefferson got famous for? James Hemings, an enslaved black chef. Jefferson took credit. Hemings got slavery. Fried chicken. Scottish immigrants had basic frying techniques. West Africans had seasoning, spice blends, and actually made it taste good. Black people perfected it. White people franchised it. KFC, Popeyes. Billion-dollar industries built on black culinary expertise. And who profits most? Not the communities who created it. Not the grandmothers who perfected the recipes. Corporations, influencers.
These are oxtails.
People who discovered something that was never lost. Right now on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you'll find non-black creators making oxtails. And that's fine. Food is meant to be shared. But watch the language. My twist. Elevated. Reinvented. As if it needed elevation. As if it wasn't already elevated. As if black grandmothers weren't already cooking at Michelin level before Michelin knew those islands existed. This is cultural appropriation with a price tag. And it happens because the food system doesn't value black contributions until white approval validates them. But it's not just oxtails. It's not just one dish. Gentrification doesn't just raise rent. It raises the price of culture itself. When a neighborhood gets gentrified, even the grocery stores get bougie. The corner store that sold oxtails for $12 a pound closes. A Whole Foods opens. Suddenly, the same oxtails are $28 a pound. Studies show that in gentrified areas, prices of culturally relevant foods jump 17 to 30% higher than in non-gentrified neighborhoods. That's not market forces. That's pricing out the people who've been there. That's making culture expensive for the creators. Black-owned restaurants that served oxtails for decades, priced out by rising rent, replaced by fusion restaurants that serve deconstructed oxtail ragu for $45. The people who made the neighborhood desirable through their culture can no longer afford to live in or eat in their own neighborhood. That's not coincidence. That's by design. And oxtails are just one example. Plantains, yuca, ackee, callaloo, all following the same pattern. Black and Caribbean communities create food cultures. Gentrification arrives, prices spike, communities displaced. So when you ask, why are oxtails so expensive, you're really asking, why does black culture become unaffordable once white America decides it's valuable? If this video gets 10,000 likes, we're breaking down the stolen history of collard greens next, the nutritional powerhouse that got called poverty food until kale became trendy. Comment which black food history you want exposed next. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, Jamaican patties, something I haven't even covered? Let's document all of it. So here's the truth. Oxtails aren't expensive naturally. They became expensive because black food gets undervalued, then stolen, then resold to the world at a premium. Every time this happens, every time black culture becomes profitable, the people who created it get the short end. Literally, the short end of the cow. Your grandmother made oxtails legendary with a $2 cut and a lifetime of knowledge. Now that same cut costs $30 because the world finally caught up to what she always knew: black people can cook. But instead of celebrating the source, instead of supporting black-owned restaurants, instead of paying black chefs what they're worth, the system just raises the price and keeps the profit. This isn't just about oxtails. This is about how black innovation gets treated in every industry. Create it, perfect it, make it valuable, then watch someone else profit while you get priced out of your own culture. But you know what? Keep making oxtails. Keep cooking the food your grandmother taught you. Keep preserving the recipes, because they can raise the price, but they can't steal the knowledge. They can't steal the love that goes into every pot. They can't steal the fact that when your grandmother made oxtails, she was feeding your body and your spirit and your history all at once. That's priceless, and that's what they'll never take. Comment below with the next Black food history you want me to expose. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, Jamaican patties, or something wild I haven't even heard of yet. Hit subscribe so we can keep telling the real stories, the ones they don't teach in culinary school, the ones that explain why your grandmother's kitchen was always the best restaurant in town. Because when you erase a people's food, you erase their contributions, you erase their ingenuity, you erase their survival. And that's exactly why we're here, to make sure the receipts stay public.